welcome back to another episode of the Young Black Suburban. I'm here with another Young Black Suburban. I don't know if you're a Young Black Suburban. All right, because this interview is going to be me getting to know you a little bit as well.
Okay.
Another young black entrepreneur as well. Antoine Lovelace. How you doing, Antoine?
What's up, brother? Doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Good. I'm glad that you can come and join me today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like I said, I don't know much about you. Let's start out with where you're from, where you grew up.
Okay. I'm from this area. I grew up in Levittown, neighborhood called Bloomsdale Gardens, where there were no gardens. But I grew up there. Obviously, I'm sure you probably heard of it.
Right.
Tough area. A lot of drugs. Weird, killings, weird stuff.
Right.
This little neighborhood. But grew up. Both parents drug addicted. My mother eventually decided to move out, and we moved to Lancaster, good old Lancaster, PA. Where, a lot of when you think of Lancaster, people think of Amish people and stuff like that, but I was in the heart of Lancaster where there is, we call it Baby San Juan. There's a lot of Puerto Ricans, a lot of, blacks, had areas of white as well, but, it was a good time after I got settled in, after we got settled in, we went up there for a drug program that my mom was able to get into, but it took a little bit of time for us to get into there. So we were homeless for a little bit, lived in a shelter, and then we finally got into this women's program.
Right.
And with that, it helped her, get off drugs and, focus and get back to normal life.
Right.
So, once that happened, she was able to get, we got out of there. We got a house, and then shortly after, she found out she had breast cancer. And then, unfortunately, shortly after that, she found, it was too late. Once they found it, it was it had spread to her brain. So, it eventually took her away from us. But I was 13. But then I moved back out here. I grew up in I lived in a town called I don't know if it's Levittown or Langhorne, but it's called Twin Oaks.
Right.
It's over Boxer Valley Mall, where my aunt and
So
uncle.
we're from the same neighborhood, though. So I grew up across the street in Oxford Crossing.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I used to go over to Pro Buck, play basketball.
On the little hill.
I'm a little bit too young to be able to say I played at Twin Oaks Courts.
Okay.
They used to be their parking lot now.
Yeah.
So we're from the same hood.
That's crazy. So what high school did you go to?
I went to Pennsbury, though. So you're on the line.
I'm on the
you
line.
went to Neshaminy.
Yep.
Right.
My street was the cutoff. Like right behind my street, it was Pennsbury. I could have walked to Pennsbury. It was it was pretty close.
Yeah.
So I went. I also went to Neshaminy High School. But that's crazy. I'm surprised I never ran into you or anything, because I was always around.
How old are you?
40. I just turned 40 a few months ago.
You got me by about 4 years.
Okay.
Maybe that's why.
Okay.
And a lot of my life I spent just boxing, secluded, doing that thing.
Yeah.
So you went from traveling, I guess you could say traveling, moving to Little San Juan and Lancaster. You made your way back up to Bucks County. How would you say life was for you growing up, going through the Neshaminy School District
for me, I mean, it was tough at first because I was adjusting to not having my mom. You know what I mean, and that was my best friend. You know what I'm saying? So. So in the beginning, school, I just wasn't, I was really just getting by because I was athletic, you know what I'm saying? Like, They were really just passing me through. So in the beginning, it was a very tough adjustment, losing your mom, you know what I mean? That was the closest person to me,
right,
you know what I mean? So, but once I got into school, I actually met a guy. And you may know, I think you know him. Tony Devine?
Yeah, that's been on the podcast.
Oh, yes? Okay.
Actually, he brought you up with a few other people on the podcast.
Oh, wow.
Saying, and he put me in the category too now, I guess, of young black people that are doing things for their community. And your name came up. So he's a mentor.
Yeah, he's been like a father, mentor. I mean, he was fresh. I think it was his first year in school. It was my first year out here. So I was in 8th grade, I believe. Yeah, I was in 8th grade. So in '94. But Tone, he was just like a father figure, coach to me. He wasn't my teacher or anything, but he was a teacher to me. You know what I mean? So he really looked after me. He was like the cool, like all the girls liked him, dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he he was the first person, to talk me into playing football, which wasn't a love of mine. I was a basketball. I thought I was going to the NBA. You know what I mean? So he really was the first person to push me into playing football, and that was in my 9th grade year, and we had a great season. But anyway, but being at Neshaminy, being at Maple Point, I went to Maple Point, then to Neshaminy. Yeah. We used to beat on Medill Bear. That's where you were.
I went to William Penn and Medill Bear, but I don't remember it going that way when I went.
Well, 4 years prior, it went that way.
They must have peaked at your year.
But for me, I'm like a very adaptable type of person. And going in from middle school into high school, it was just normal. It wasn't. I never had any issues, as in like race or anything. You know what I mean? I just blended in. I'm just very adaptable.
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I actually have an older brother who's a couple years older than I am. Then I have a younger sister who is 4 years younger than me.
Okay.
But when we came back out here, my mom, right when my mom passed away, my aunt and uncle took my brother and I, and then my sister kind of stayed with my mom until she actually passed, and then she came out here too. Okay. But my uncle, he really, he had his own family too. You know what I mean? This is I ain't going that part because it's like a weird story. But we can eventually get to that. But who I thought was my dad's brother who took us in, he had his own family, and he always treated me like I was his own son.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we have a great bond.
So even though you lost your mom, you still had these male figures in your life that helped turn you into who you are today.
Yes, sir.
Did you end up having school after Neshaminy? Did you?
Yeah. So I got a full ride. When I left, so I played football in 9th grade and basketball, obviously. Then when I got to 10th grade, back then 9th grade was still middle school, and 10th grade was high school. You know what I mean? So when I got to 10th grade, I played on varsity. I played varsity, and I played football because Tone made me play. He was like, I play what I play, and just wasn't for me. It was like kind of easy. But I wasn't into it. I didn't like people touching me, all that stuff. So I wound up quitting, unfortunately, and then my 11th grade year, my uncle said, look, you need to play football. If you want to play Division I basketball, play football, because that's your ticket out of here. And I went out my 11th grade year. I'm in camp, and I'm like 6 on the depth chart. I'm just like mad because I know I'm better than everybody out here, not being cocky or anything like that. But so whatever. So then he ended up, I wound up quitting in camp, and then the coach wound up sending kids to my house, a couple of players to my house to come talk to me, and then my uncle talked to me. He's like, look, just go back out there. And then long story short, I went back out. I wound up getting in the first game. This is kind of funny, so let me tell you this. So the first game comes, right? Yo, it's so funny. I'm on the bench. Like, I'm a bench player. I'm like probably like 5th on the depth chart, right? So one of the guys had went away for the game, whatnot. So the coach calls me, but the quarterback knew I was nice. You know what I mean? My man Jim Deese, he knew I was nice. I'm killing all the, the DBs and stuff. They were like the varsity, starters, whatever. So coach calls, he's like, Lovelace, come in. So I'm like, all right. I'm nervous as hell. I'm like running over. I'm like, all right. He's like, telling me to play. It was like a running play. So I go in. I was like, running play. He's like, yo, just run a fly. Fly just means just run straight down the field. I was like, all right, cool. So I get to the line, and I get there like late. Bang. As soon as I get in first play, touchdown, 80-yard touchdown. The Coach Schmidt, that's my guy. I come to the sideline. He's like, who the F changed the play? Lovelace, sit your ass down. I'm like, dude, I just scored an 80-yard touchdown the first time I get in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he sits me down. Everybody's like, just like, kind of like, just like, what the heck's going on? And then, so this team was like one of the top teams, and that's one of, projected to be in that, that year. Mm-hmm. So he wanted to call me back in, maybe like the second half. I get in, same things, like, he grabs me, like, tells me to run and play, go. So I go out there, tell him to play. He's like, yo, just run the fly again. I was like, all right, cool. Ran the fly again. 70-yard touchdown, right? Yeah. Right? So he's snapping up, get the F out of here, sit your ass down, whatever. I'm like,
when did he find that?
So
accept it.
Yeah, so what happened was, so now we wound up winning. We were supposed to lose, wound up winning because they were ranked in the state. We wound up winning, and then the next game we were playing a school called CBEs. Mm-hmm. And CBEs had a bunch of guys going Division I already, a couple guys that I knew that I played basketball against, whatever. It was like the showdown, me versus their defense. And like the coach shows us like the paper. I'm like, I'm on the bench, like, you know what I mean? Like, that ain't for me. So then he finally puts me in. I think I finished the game with like three catches and 2 touchdowns for like 190 yards, something like that, something crazy. So after that, I had a red jersey on. After that, I was you couldn't even touch me. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing tackling drills or anything. So, I proved myself. I was the top receiver at that point in the first 2 games, and then after that, that's when all the colleges start rolling in. You know what I mean? And I was just dominating pretty much the whole rest of the year. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I started getting all these different offers and stuff. Right. So it was pretty neat. I tell people all the time, there was a point where you remember Coach Paterno? Yeah. Who passed away, unfortunately? They came to my house in Twin Oaks trying to recruit me to go there. Right. And I wound up going there for like official visits and stuff like that. So I ended up signing with Northwestern. And what happened was, I guess the coach got fired. And at that point, you can kind of like choose wherever you want to go. And I went over to, I wound up going to to Rutgers. Okay. Playing football there. It was close to home. A lot of my friends' family came to the game and stuff like that. So it was cool. And then but I realized again, I would love basketball, and they were going to let me play basketball there. And right after my second year, because I was scheduled to play basketball right after my second year, I tore my hand up like 2 games before the end of the season. So I was out for like 4 or 5 months because it got infected. It was just a nightmare. Right. And then the coaches got fired from Rutgers, and then got new coaches in, and I got back for spring ball.
So this is a good point for me to bring up my next question, which is, what other than sports were you interested in, and what did you go to college for as far as majoring?
Should I tell you the real answer?
Well,
girls, man. I went there for the girls, man.
Right.
Nah. I always wanted to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. That was my first, outside of sports, was being a teacher. Right. And when I left Rutgers and went to Westchester, that was my major. And, they base it on the stupid, GPA. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, I can connect with any type of kid, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, right when I was about to be finished, my GPA wasn't high enough, so I had to, like, get out of the major, and I went over to, like, liberal studies or some BS, whatever. But
like what they usually put basketball players in.
Exactly. Exactly. And then, So then at that point I was like, I don't know if I really want to be a teacher at that point. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I didn't have a good taste about it. Excuse me. And then, so when I got out of school, I was just a bouncer. I just bounced in like a bunch of spots in the city. Mm-hmm. Just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in my life. I had a kid when I was in college, my oldest son, Ashton. So I'm just trying to provide, make sure I got money for him. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. So. Right. And then later on, I would say around when I was about 30, that's when I picked up clippers. And I started cutting hair. And I actually started at a shop right down the street, which is really right at Pond and Jefferson. There used to be Al's Uppercut.
Right. It's still there, but no
one's in there. Yeah. I started there. He was my barber at the time. He said, I'm going to teach you how to cut hair. And I was like, all right, cool. And I really liked it.
Right. So you caught the bug.
Yeah, caught the bug, man. Caught the bug. I was there for like maybe 7-8 months. I left there and went to another shop where one of my other boys were cutting, and he was going to teach me how to cut Caucasian hair. I didn't know how to cut Caucasian hair. And from that point, I just ran. Like, I knew I was going to do my own business. I knew I wanted to do my own shop, and that was the goal right then after that.
Yeah.
You know.
So I guess you're finding your way through the barbershop world and everything, but there comes a time where you're like, okay, I'm making, such amount of money. Somebody else is making this much more. I'm going to have to make this jump. Do you remember that time where you were like, I really got to put both feet in and turn this into something? Yeah,
you know what happened? When I jumped the shop from here to Levittown, I knew at that point that I was going to do my own thing. And you know how the world works. It was crazy. Like the guy who owned that shop that I went to, he came in one day and said, "Look, everybody." It was a Thursday. He came in and he said, "Look, everyone, take your clippers on Saturday. I'm shutting the shop down." And my boy that I went to the shop with, that I went to go work with, his dad ended up giving him the money to buy the shop off that dude. So at that point, he's the owner of the shop now, right? But I'm like the person like. I'm firing people. I'm hiring people. Like, you know what I mean? I already knew how to do a lot of that stuff just, because I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So eventually, I was like, I'm going to do my own thing. And at that point, my father-in-law, who just my girl's dad, you know what I mean? Said, you need to open up your own shop. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I want to open my own shop, but I want to create a brand. I don't want to just open up a shop and say I got a shop. You know what I mean? I want to do this whole, I got this whole plan. You know what I mean? And he said to me, he's like, well, how much is it going to cost to open up a shop? I'm like, I don't even know. I never opened up a shop. He was like, all right, well, just give me the bill. Just like that. And, and again, like I said, this was just my girl's dad at the time. You know what I mean? It wasn't my fiance. It wasn't nothing. She's my wife now, obviously, but, he believed in me. And so then I got my first shop. I was open for about I got my first 5-year lease. After my 3rd year, I opened up the next shop, and then it just kept trickling after that. So, but I was so driven, you know what I mean? And I'm still obviously driven.
Right. So what's the name of your
brand?
Your brand.
Everyone knows that's Lace.
Right.
You know what I mean? When I originally opened up, it was called Lace Unisex Hair Salon because I always wanted like girls and guys in the same shop. I'm like, why can't girls and guys be in the same shop? I'm not seeing why it can't happen, and then, I had to try it, and then I see why it can't happen. Right. But, it originally started as Late Unisex Hair Salon until about last year. Well, 2 years ago. When I closed that my first business down, I opened up another shop that was a lot bigger. That's when I changed the name because I went with a different theme, and it just fit what I was doing, which is now Lace Uptown.
Right, so you do, you cater to everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, you learn how to cut Caucasian hair yourself.
Yep.
Do you keep that in mind when you're, thinking about your brand, thinking about your salons? Like, I have to be all-inclusive. Is that, like, really what it's about?
Yeah, I mean, even from the jump, I was told, because in the beginning, I only had barbers. I told them, listen, if you're going to be a barber with me, you have to know how to cut every type of person that walks through that door. You know what I mean? Because you bring no value if you just only just cut all black hair or you can just cut all white hair. Right.
Because you go to shops and that's how it is.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what, I'm such a all around, I just enjoy people. I don't ever look at color. I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, my shop is definitely the most, we call it like the United Nations. Like, we have like a Pakistan, we have African, we have white, we have Italian, we have every nationality barber that's in my location. Right. You know what I mean? So when you come in that shop, you don't feel a certain type of way. You don't feel like it's an all black barbershop or an all white barbershop. You in the UN, United Nations. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what's great about the shop. You know what I mean? Not that I go around looking for different type of people. It happens.
Happens. And I think our upbringing. I like to draw parallels with my guests all the time. And it just so happens we grew up across the street from each other. I think that our upbringing kind of makes us that way. Where I don't know about you, but I was the only black kid in my class until about maybe 7th grade,
wow.
8th grade. Yeah, Pennsbury was different.
Yeah.
Or the more that I come to the Bristol side, I see that my kids grow up differently. But anyway, I bring that same mindset into my gym, where everybody's welcome. It doesn't matter who you are. And I think that's just, we grew up in a diverse area. There's not that many areas that are like that, but we happen to live on the coast. You might go to Nebraska and
it's different.
You might not be able to find a barber shop.
No, you're right.
So that's a good thing. But also something that happens to us young black suburbans is we find a passion to give back as well. It's not always just about capitalizing. We always like to find ways to give back. And your name was brought up before because you do give back. Do you want to talk about some of your philanthropy? And
I won't go in
because we've done an event together. And that was you do it. It's annually a Christmas drive. I'll drop it for you. A Christmas drive, and you do it at the tech school where they cut hair. And I really enjoyed it. And that was another thing that was all inclusive, and it was for a good cause. And so I hear your name dropped a lot. I want you to say, what's going on in that department.
Without going so deep, because there's so much stuff that I do not, I don't even put out there. But it's just, when you grow up, I grew up, no food, roaches, homeless outside. You know what I mean? Like, there's always just been in me just to always give back. You know what I'm saying? That's just a lot of my days, just doing different things. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are not as fortunate. You know what I mean? I know I'm super blessed. You know what I mean? And for me, that's that's just what we're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't have to be monetary. It don't have to be, it could be anything. You know what I mean? And it could be time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of stuff that you can do to give back. I wish more people did it, and it's crazy. Like, people that work in my business, they know I do a lot of different things, and I want them there. I'm like, look, I'm doing this. Come out, do this. You know what I mean? Whatever. And, a lot of people there, do this. And then when they're not at my shop anymore, they don't even do anything. You know what I mean? So I'm like, dang, did I really reach them? Like, I really wanted to. Because the hair stuff don't mean nothing to me. You know what I mean? It's about the person. You know what I mean? Who cares about the money? You know what I mean? Money is there. Money come, money go. You know what I'm saying? It's about, just helping people, man. Because there's just so many people that need help, and that's one thing I pride myself on, too, is when I do stuff, I do it with my kids. Because I want them to, one day I'm not going to be here. You know what I'm saying? I need them to make sure they continue in that, and then when they have kids and they doing the same thing, you know what I mean? They keep the cycle going.
Right.
You know what I mean? So whenever you see me doing an event, my kids are always present.
Right.
And that's just something that's really major to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a lot.
Not to go back up to the haircut thing, but I saw, me, I'm looking kind of rough. My barber situation's all over the place, man.
I got you.
And I see you shaved up. I didn't even know that you were cutting hair and that you were someone that actually, I thought that you were just an entrepreneur and you put it together. So you actually know what your barbers are going through. And that helps you grow a successful business when you know what your employees are going through. And so my situation's kind of funny, personalities that I don't want to deal with in the barbershop, being on time, things like that, canceling. I'm going through that kind of experience right now. How do you control all that manicness? And you have multiple salons, right?
Yes. For me, when I knew that I was going to open up my first shop, right?
Can I say salon? Is that?
Yeah, salon, barbershop. That's all I'm
saying. I want to say it right.
Yeah, you good. Because I got salon, I got barbershop. That's all I'm saying. It's people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, when I knew that when I was going to open my own shop, my idea was, especially because I knew I was going to have barbers first, I knew it was going to take a little bit of time for me to get female hairstylists. I'm like, I'm taking kids. I'm taking young bucks that don't even got licenses. I'm gonna mold them, you know what I mean? Show them the way, show them how to cut hair, and then help them get their license. And then everything is, then they're good. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people got licenses that can't cut hair. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you have younger, people underneath you, they listen. They don't have houses to pay for, so they can stay in the shop all day. They don't have kids to pay for. They can stay in the shop all day. You know what I'm saying? They're not married. They can stay in the shop all day. So that was my main thing when I first started. And all my barbers were young. I mean, I was obviously the oldest person in there, but I'm not that much older. I'm not old. Like, people think I'm younger than some of the guys that's in the shop. You know what I mean? But my thing was to have younger people, mold them to who you want them to be, and help, not even who you want them to be, to help guide them and show them, like, this is the way, this is how you do it. You don't want to do it the right way, look at the other barbers. Look at these guys over here. Look at,
would you say that you have a successful, a good success rate with that kind of?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like, before the quarantine happened, I had about 40-some people. And then after the quarantine, when the quarantine happened, I lost, I would say 13 people, I would say. Probably, 13, 14 people. And the thing with the people that I lost, because how I structure stuff and how I showed them, like, look, yeah, you cut hair or you do hair, but there's other ways to get money too, and still be doing what you love. You know what I'm saying? And teaching them the game of the hair. You know what I mean? So where now all these people I lost, they didn't go to another shop. They went to their own shop. Right. They opened up their own business. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
They had time to think about it.
Exactly. They did. And some people, it was crazy when you treat people. I treat them like family. I don't have nothing to gain from them. I don't. You know what I mean? I want you to just be successful, just like like me. I want us all to eat at the same table. You know what I'm saying? So, me, I'm trying to treat people like family, right? And then they're acting like they're family. And then this quarantine happened, and yet people do back stuff behind your back, this weird stuff. I'm like, dude, that's weird to me. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's just how life is. I mean,
Well, and as the business owner, you've probably seen it multiple times. I've seen it, and I've realized that just not everybody's cut from the same cloth.
100%.
Some people need time to grow as well, mature, and you just gotta keep doing what you've been doing.
That's it.
One person that we help is better than nothing. So
you're right.
Where do you see your brand? In let's say 5 years from now. You're going to be
Good question.
In Manhattan somewhere.
No. I mean, I'm a local. I like to stay local. I like to be able to see everybody, touch everybody. But as for my brand, it's funny. Like, it's since this whole Corona, whatever crap, it's definitely been weird. I'm actually transitioning into something else, but I'm in hair, but I'm more in the part of as in I'm letting them be their own business. So now they have a thing called like Salon suites, which is pretty neat. It's pretty much how I ran my own shop, but instead of them being just everyone in one room, they all have their own walls around them.
I gotta come check you out, and I'm gonna help you out because people are looking for that. The one reason why I was at the place that I was at is because it was just me and the barber. I didn't have to go in there and people say, "Oh, do you know who this is?" or talk about boxing for the whole time. Wait 3 hours for the haircut to be finished. I like the fact that I was secluded. It was just me and the barber. We can get the job done. I can go home. That sounds the sweet idea. It sounds like something that you might have just got a new client because of.
It's cool. But I got something else stirring up right now. I'm waiting for this last meeting in May, and I got something crazy I'm about to announce. But I gotta get to this next.
We can't get no.
That's crazy.
I was about to get
exclusive. It's about to go down, man. Like, I just always looking down the road. I tell my guys, I'm like, look, I'm in like 2023. I'm not even really here. How my mind thinks, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the thing that I'm about to, come out, that's about to hopefully be released, if everything goes well April, next month, it's going to be crazy. It's going to change the whole hair game.
Is it something where I'm going to have you back on the show again?
Yeah.
Bust it up? All right.
Absolutely, bro, because it's we'll talk off camera.
We'll talk off camera with that.
You know what I'm saying?
So besides, running your businesses and doing that, what does Antoine do, in your free time? This is about you. This whole thing is about you, but you're not just here.
Yeah. Me now it's more so just trying to make up time that I lost with my family. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I remember even my oldest son, when I first got into cutting hair, 10 years ago, well, this will be 11 years. He was young. You know what I mean? I missed games because I'm in the shop Saturdays.
Real quick. So 11 years, and we're going to get back to that. Let's not drop that because it's very important. So when you first started cutting hair, you had how long before you opened up your first shop?
About almost 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
And then that was a grind. So, your kids really had to sacrifice.
Everybody's on the back burner.
Yeah. And then, so you had that, your first shop 3 years later. And then you got successful enough to open up your second one. How long?
I had my first shop in 3 years. And then I would say like almost 3 years after that.
So within 6 years, you had two spots. And you've been running 2 spots for 6 years now.
Yeah, 7. No, it's probably more so. Yeah, about 6 years,
6 years.
Yeah.
So for 11 years, you've been grinding hard, pedal to the metal. Wife, kids, have to deal with dad being away, working. And I'm just relating 9 to 9 o'clock at night.
You're always on.
Not being able to make sporting events and things like that. So right now you're at a point in your life where you're trying to reverse that.
Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, I didn't get to say this, but my wife, man, like she, we had this conversation. When I was first opening up my shop, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be around a whole lot. I got to build this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It ain't going to just happen. I'm going to have to be in the trenches. You know what I mean? And I'm on this stuff. You can't get frustrated with me. You know what I mean? I had the same conversation with my son. He's, 6 years old. You know what I mean? He's super, in the sport at that time, still is. I'm like, listen, daddy going to be missing stuff, dude. Trust me, I want to be there. You know what I mean? But I have to do this so I can be there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was the way I was thinking.
Yeah. And you were smart because of me. I didn't know what the hell I was thinking.
Yeah.
I'm just here now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't know it was going to be this rough. People don't know, how hard it really is.
It's tough, man.
But tough. You had to, the mindset to, at least warn your family, let them know and carry them along the way.
Yeah. I'm not saying everything is all peaches and cream now. It's still, you're a business owner, and I got other stuff. I got another big company that I have. It's not hair. You know what I mean? I got a lot of different things that I got going on. You know what I mean? So just balancing everything, and that's new, and I'm getting it off the ground, and it's not easy.
How are you balancing it? What are some of the things that you're doing to help be more present at home?
I'm glad you can ask me that with my wife in here, because she'll say some different stuff. You know what I mean? Well, but try to stay off your phone. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, as being an entrepreneur, dude, it's like you're always on. You know what I mean? And it carries.
And there's no more 9 to 5.
No,
it's
not even
24
close.
hours.
It's 24 hours.
Just like CNN, Fox News.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what I even tell the people that work in the shop and whatnot. I'm like, listen, dude, like, I'm always on. So that means from whether I'm driving around, I'm on social media, I'm on. I'm in the mall, I'm hearing this, I'm on. So people, like, think about the people that know you that you don't know them. You know what I mean? That when there was like something happened in the shop, I'm like, and someone seen someone do something, and they send it back to me, and I'm like, yo, what happened with this? He'd be like, how you find out? I'm like, bro, it's people everywhere. People know who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know who they are. You know what I mean? So that's the thing about entrepreneurs. Like, it's literally 24 hours a day, and I don't turn off until I close my eyes. Really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is hard to balance stuff. I try to leave my phones in the car. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm about to go to my daughter has a game at 3, soccer game. Let's leave my phone because I don't want to deal with anything. You know what I mean? So that's the key. That's the key is trying to leave your phone in different places for me.
You're doing that for your family. What are you doing for yourself to help you, get through these manic days and long hours like you just explained? Are you doing anything to take care of yourself?
No, I mean, therapy for me is cutting hair. Cause I'm in my, it's something I love, like I really love to do besides being with my
So you actively have clients now?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So, it's like literally therapy for me. Just be able to like turn everything off. I'm gonna answer my phone. I make my little schedule when I gotta cut, and I just cut, and I'm just in the zone. I'm not talking to no one. I'm talking to my clients. You know what I mean? Chilling in the shop with everybody. You know what I mean? So that's my therapy for me. Right. But then again, hanging out with the kids too. So the wife and I, we have a date night every week. Mm-hmm. That was something that made our relationship even better, just because we go out every week. We were married, we didn't do out last night, but that's something that we really try to make sure we do. We go out to dinner every week, like either Friday or Saturday.
Right.
And I encourage that for anybody. Like I said, you don't have to go out to eat or go to the mall or anything like that. Like, it's just being there, just being, and not having these little badass kids with you all day. You know what I mean? Mommy, daddy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So just her and I. You know what I mean? So I always tell people, like, yo, date your wife.
Right.
Date her. You know what I mean? That's my girl. You know what I mean? Like, let's go out and I treat her like she's my girl. You know what I mean? So.
And plus, you bringing home the bacon.
Yeah. But she got a harder job than I got too, though.
Yeah, she got to be married to you.
Yeah. I mean, the kids, man, that's the toughest job in the world. Yeah. Like, toughest job in the world, and hats off to every mother out there, like, that's a mom. That's the hardest job in the world. Like, what I do is just what we do. You know what I mean? We do this every day. Ain't nothing new. But with kids, man, it's a lot. You know what I mean? And this is one of the reasons why I try to take my wife out every week to get her away from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she got her own little thing she got going on too, like, what she do by herself. But, for her and I, it's just a good time to just be able to just talk, hang out.
Now, was she, early on, you said that her father was the one that gave you the chance. Mm-hmm. Was she into your business early on, or was it always just you? It was
just me. She obviously support anything I do. Like, I do events, and she's always out to the front. She's right there next to me. But I never really put anything on her because I knew how much. Because when I opened up the first business, even though my oldest son is not with her, we had our oldest daughter, her name's Teal, and she focused on the baby while built this over here, and then we had another kid, and another kid. So.
How many children?
5.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, 5. 17, 8, 5, 3, and 8 months, 7 months, 8 months.
Okay, cool.
So, so that again, that's a job itself. Just being a mom, dude. Mm-hmm. Cooking, cleaning, picking up after these little badass kids. You know what I mean? She look, it's a lot.
Is she from the area as well?
She's from Chamonix as well. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know her. I mean,
shout out to Miss Lovelace.
Yeah, that's another story. But she's from the area too.
Cool.
So,
all right. So before we wrap up, though,
yes, sir.
Tell our viewers, where they can, find you on social media, where they can locate your shops in person, all that good stuff.
You can find me I'm heavy on Instagram. My Instagram is at Lace, LACE _D. I have another Instagram that's Lace Uptown. I have another Instagram that's it's Teal Sky Salon Suites. That's if you're looking for a suite. That's my main handles that I'm really on. I have a shop in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. It's in the borough of Langhorne. Then I have a shop in Pendle, which is, on Route 1, pretty much.
Right.
But like I said, if you're interested in getting a haircut, probably not by me, but my other guys, they all can cut hair.
Probably not from me.
Yeah. These guys are all super sharp barbers. I put them against anybody. Hairstylists the same way. Just hit me on DM, and you can find a lot of my people through my Instagrams. You can always tag all of them. I post their stuff and whatnot.
All right, now we got all the information out of the way.
Yeah.
If you could give, a message to the people out there who this might be their first time meeting you or, hearing anything from you, what could you say to them, encouraging them or just telling them about yourself? Or both.
About me?
Yeah, I put you on the spot.
Yeah,
I put you on the spot. But this is like I said, we have done things together, but this is our first time actually sitting down. So this is a lot of information I'm just finding out about you.
Yeah.
This is your put that cherry on the top.
Yeah.
This is your chance to tell the people, that last little thing.
Yeah, I'm just a local guy, man, just trying to help out people while I'm here. I love people. I love helping. I love my family. And if you ever need anything from me, you want to team up on some different events, just reach out to me because I'm always here to help, and I genuinely love to do that. And again, I'm just a simple person. I ain't nobody special. Just out here hustling like everybody else.
That's it, man. And off camera, we're gonna talk about his new venture, and we know we're gonna have part 2. This is just part 1 of Antoine Lovelace from Laced Uptown.
Yes, sir.
Hair salon, barber.
Coolest shop you will ever see. You gotta come by there. Coolest shop.
Thanks for stopping by the Young Black Suburban.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you guys on the next one.